Okay, so we are delving into new territory here. One of the things when we started keto was, what are we going to do after keto? This is not necessarily a long-term diet plan. But we know we don't want to go back to some of the ways that we were eating that got us to keto. So one thing that we're looking at is veganism and vegetarianism and all of that. So we got some cookbooks and we're going to try a few things. We haven't delved completely into grains yet. What we're doing is actually we're going to go through our freezer and get through all of our meat and then sort of embrace this new way of eating. But I have found a couple recipes that I really want to try and start trying to incorporate things. We'll share that journey with you. I'm going to be making a creamy mushroom soup, and I'm not using cream, I'm using tofu as the cream base. So that's totally new to me. So we're gonna cook it on the stove in our trusty Dutch oven. And what we do is we're gonna cook, cut up the onion, one whole onion here, 2 cloves of garlic. I don't usually use garlic cloves. I use that jar of garlic, so I've got enough in there to be the equivalent of 2 chopped up cloves. So I'm going to chop up the onion, and we're going to saute that in our coconut oil. It does call for olive oil in the recipe, but we're going to cook that down until the onions are translucent, and then we're going to transfer those onions into our Ninja food processor. Then we're going to chop up some mushrooms, cook those down, move everything back into one pot, and add the remaining 2 cups of vegetable broth. So we're going to go through that process and see how that goes. Most of what I enjoy about cooking, when I have the time to do it, is all the groovy old stuff I cook with or use. So love the old Corningware. I'm always looking in thrift stores for it, and I don't get a lot of call to use it because I don't cook tons, but they're fun for putting things in. And so I'm just going to chop all this up, and we're going to cut it down. It is going to go into the food processor, so I'm not super worried about it being chopped super fine. Super fine. All right. So let's do that into here for presentation purposes. Also going to cut up the mushrooms too. Now the recipe calls for about 13 ounces of tofu. I got my tofu at Walmart. I didn't go and buy any special. I don't even know much about tofu, so I just sort of got what they had, and we'll see how that goes. I'm not too sure. I'm sure if you're a user of tofu, you're saying, oh my God, that's the wrong kind, you're not supposed to get that. But we're just starting out, right? So we're just going to start making these recipes, learning what we can, figuring it out as we go. So I'm just going to start cooking those onions again till they're translucent, then adding the garlic and a little bit of the broth. The tofu will go in the food processor. So you can also make this with beans. We're still halfway in keto here, or pretty much in keto, so I haven't gone to beans yet. So I'm opening up the tofu. So that's unique. I have eaten and used tofu in the past, but I'm telling you, not for a super long time. This thing of tofu is about 16 ounces, so I'm probably going to use the majority of it here. And I'm just going to stick that into the food processor for when I get those onions and garlic out. I got these mushrooms at Costco. Love Costco. These are butter mushrooms, I think it said. You can use just the regular mushrooms at the grocery store. These mushrooms are going to cook with a little bit of water just to cover them in the same pot that the onion is now cooking. Now, it calls for those small mushrooms you get at the store. I'm using these mega Costco mushrooms. Probably more mushrooms, but I like them. Reading over some vegan cookbooks as we sort of prepare for this, mushrooms can be used in a lot of vegan recipes as kind of a meat substitute, which is interesting. Ron's ready to go vegan here. I still like my fish and cheese. We've cut out a lot of things in our diet being on keto, and so the sacrifices of not eating certain things, it won't have as big of a kick to it as when we first started all this. But there's some really compelling health reasons to go vegan fully. Lower risk of cancer, all kinds of wonderful benefits. So now I'm transferring all the onion and the garlic here into the food processor with the approximately 13 ounces of tofu. And that's going to be our creamy base for the soup, for the cream of mushroom soup. Now, if you've watched one of my cooking episodes before, I am a humongous fan of this Ninja. Love it. It is a fantastic blender slash food processor. Great item, truly. I've gone through many blenders over the years, and they just die on you like they're like bad vacuums. They just go. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this. So let's stir that up a bit. It is creating kind of a creamy quality. Okay, so we're going to put those mushrooms in there and we're going to cook those down, and then we're going to add all the mixture. I'm going to put a little bit of the vegetable broth in with this to kind of create some more cream quality. It's blending up really nicely. Oh wow, that really is great. That really is neat. So tofu has only 2 carbs. and 7 grams of protein. So it really stays in line with the keto. So for the transition from keto to a more vegetable, plant-based diet, that's a great way to go. Went to keto, one of the things we did was we got rid of everything with carbs out of our house. And we really didn't prepare for it. We just went, we're doing it. This time, this is a big move from meat. So meat's not cheap. So we're making sure that we use it. So we're going to try some recipes that maybe if they call for tofu, we try it with chicken or a different type of meat. Or try some of the sauces and the vegetables with meat instead of using the grains, because we haven't done that. So you're going to see our transition here when we go more full-time into it. You know, one of the big worries is, are we just going to put on all the weight that we've lost? I'm now about 12 pounds away from my original goal of 25 pounds. So that's great. I've enjoyed it. I have missed some sugar and all these things that I really like. And that's tough. But we have found some alternatives, things that I probably won't change. Sugar-free barbecue sauce. We found one that's great. In fact, let me see if I've got it. Okay. This guy, G. Hughes, sugar-free teriyaki marinade. He makes an incredible sugar-free barbecue sauce. Love this guy. And it's sugar-free. Why have the extra sugar? We've gotten sugar-free spaghetti sauce. That's great, and that's made by Hunt's. So you can get name brand regular items, and I don't specialty shop. I just don't. So some of this is Walmart, and we've gone to the 5-carb tortillas. I don't think I'm going to change that. A regular tortilla is 35 carbs. Crazy. So these mushrooms are really cooking down. So that's great. I was kind of worried that I had so many, but this is super. Now I'd really like to be eating this with rolls, but one thing at a time. And again, another reason I love my Ninja, I'm lifting this out and it doesn't leave a hole. I have another food processor where you lift this part out and there's a hole in the bottom. That's terrible. How does that work? So this is really looking like cream of mushroom soup. So I'm going to let that cook a little bit. It's supposed to snow tomorrow, so what a super meal, like cream of mushroom soup. How fabulous is that? So we're heating it all the way through, adding some salt and pepper. Let me do that. So I'm going to tidy up a little bit and we'll fast forward and give it a try. Okay, so now I'm going to try it. We'll see how it is. It's hot. Duh. I think I made it too thin, but it's very tasty actually. It tastes like cream of mushroom soup. Not that I've ever made cream of mushroom soup from scratch, but it's very tasty. So about 10 to 12 mushrooms, a whole onion, 13 ounces of tofu, and 2 cups of vegetable broth and 2 garlic cloves. So cook down the onion, blend it in a food processor with a little bit of the vegetable broth and the tofu. Cook down the mushrooms, maybe for 5 to 10 minutes. Add it all together, heat it through. Pretty easy and pretty good. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe.